everybody, Tom Vasel and your weekly assortment of 7 different games here that I'm going to give some short reviews to. Very much a mixture. I was about to say motley crew, but these aren't all bad. There's some good stuff in here. So we're going to take a look at these 7 different games. Some small, some big, some roll and rights. Here we go. Locus. Is that like focus with an L? Anyway, this is a flip and right where you're flipping a card and putting Tetris-shaped pieces onto your sheet. Pretty simple. Let's take a look at how it plays. In Locus, each player is going to get their own sheet, and there's a certain number of rounds based on the number of players, and each player is going to get to pick a card first each round. So let's say it was a 4-player game. You turn over one more card than the number of players. And then each player, starting with whoever starts first, will take a card, and you'll go around until there's one card left over. And everyone gets to do that once, and then you'll start another round. When you take a card, the cards are different colors, although this one's any color, and you're going to fill in that shape. You can rotate the shape, you can flip the shape. The game comes with these cards to show you not only what's in the deck, but also showing you how you can rotate and flip tiles. Now, your first one that you draw must be in one of the dark squares. So if I drew this big blue shape, I would have to put at least one of the blocks in there, and then the rest of the shape can be anywhere. And after that, you can do the same thing or touch shapes. Some cards give you coins also, and you'll mark coins here. Coins are important because you can spend a coin, crossing it off. You start with a coin, that's nice. To turn any shape into wild, you can spend 2 coins to just fill in 2 single squares anywhere. And you can spend 3 to use the card that nobody picked on a turn. Now, each of these spaces is going to score differently. On the blue, you're simply just trying to get as high as you can, and that's going to get you your points. On red, you're trying to fill in each of these shapes. Red, you can fill in anything. You don't need to worry about the dark squares. Green, you're trying to connect the center to each of these, getting 8 points for each you connect to. Purple, you're trying to connect squares to each other. The most squares you connect to each other will show you how many points you get. And yellow, you're trying to fill in entire rows. Each row you fill in will get you a certain amount of points. There's also bonuses that when you cover them up, you'll get other shapes. You know, when you cover this up, for example, you get a blue too. But here's an example of scoring. You score for each of the colored areas, and then you pick your lowest scoring area, and you'll score for that again. And then that's the number of points that you have. And that is how you play. Locus is very fun. I really enjoy flipping these shapes and how each of the different categories, the blue, you're stacking them up. The red, you fill them in. Yellow, you want lines, etc., etc. And the coins, very simple to use. Change the color, very enjoyable. And I'm giving Locus a 6 out of 10. Wait, what? Well, it's very fun, like twice. The problem is every sheet, and by the way, you shouldn't have non-double sheets in a game like this. Come on, let's not waste paper. But every sheet is the same. Every bonus is in the same spot. It feels the same every time. The only difference is the way the cards flip out. And that may not be a big deal, but for me in this particular case, it's a big deal because you could do a lot in Locus. You could fill in a lot of things. You won't get every color, fill all of them all, but you'll get a good chunk of them done. And I just felt like there's not enough diversity for me to want to keep playing it. I had fun, but I also feel like I'm done with it now. And I wish that the game had more than that. Maybe some variety on where they put the different bonuses, or I don't know. There just needs a little bit more to it than what's in it. But it's still a neat concept, and if you see someone else playing it, definitely would jump into a game. And in a year, I'll forget the variety, and I could play it again. So still kind of a cool game, though. That's Locus. Pirate King. Pirate King is a deck-building game in which you are pushing your luck fighting pirates. No, you are pirates, fighting monsters. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get their own deck of cards. Everyone gets the same deck, but you're also going to have a pirate captain who's part of your deck. So you're going to get one of these pirate captains, and you're going to shuffle that into your deck. There's 2 decks in the middle of the table, monsters. You have these wanted signs on them, and then just loot. You always have 2 monsters per round, and then 1 loot per player in the game. Players are going to put their deck in front of them, and then simultaneously everyone will turn over their top card. Now, there might be special abilities on it. This captain, for example, he's worth -4 victory points, but he also has that hook special ability, which says he draws the top card from here and puts it face up in the area. Oh, and that's the same as this card, which means we do it again. Now, at any point when you turn these cards over, you can stop or you can keep going. When you stop, you're going to be collecting swords and coins. So this would be a good place for me to stop. I have 2 swords and 4 coins because at a certain point, you're going to draw curses. I already have 1. 2, if you ever draw a 3rd curse, then you bust and all your cards are discarded. After everyone stops or busts, then you're going to take stuff. At the top, you're going to get a monster. Many of these monsters are worth points. This crown is worth a certain amount of points based on how many crowns. In fact, if you get all 5 crowns, you win the game. And this one here is worth 1 point. This one also, you'll put it in your deck. When you draw it, you must draw another card, whether you want to or not. So some cards are worth points. So the most swords will take the first card. The second most swords takes another card, the other card. Then you'll take these cards by who has the most coins. Now, if there's a tie, at the beginning of the game, one person has the pirate hat, and if you don't like that one, the rule book actually has pages you can rip out and fold your own pirate hat. They break the tie, but then this hat goes to the person who lost the tie, and then they'll have it for the next round to decide, etc. And any cards that you take are going to get thrown into your deck that you'll have them for future rounds. And so everyone has the same amount of curses at the beginning. Everyone has, I drew very lucky this round, but you all have 5 curses in your initial deck. But as you take more and more cards, there's a lot of cards in a deck that they're pretty good cards, like this one has a crown on it, but it's also a curse at the top. This one has 2 swords, that's a pretty good card. This one has 3 swords, but you have to draw 3 more cards. But it's also worth 2 victory points, so is that worth it? This one just victory points. Doesn't do anything else though. So is that worth drawing? I think so. Either way, this is how you play the game. After you've gone through this whole deck of monster cards, which is usually going to be 7 turns, you'll take your decks apart, and whoever has the most points is the winner. The artwork in this game is really, really kiddish, like very much like a very cheap book, like for kids. I don't know that I love the art in this game, but the game itself is very amusing and fun. It's very light, don't get me wrong. But there are other games like this called Mystic Vale and others, but those games have a lot more going on. And here you're just flipping cards and you decide when to stop. It's pretty simple. You're going to bust a lot in this game. And then there's the ties, but very simple, changing the captain's hat to see who wins the ties. And the cards you pick, there's a few symbols on cards, but you'll learn what they are very quickly. Everyone has an asymmetrical deck because their captain is different in each one. And it's just amusing. It doesn't outstay its welcome. On the box here, I don't know how long it says, 15 minutes. That's pretty close. A little deck building game that can be played with families. Everyone laughs and has a silly time as you push your luck. You'll bust. You might have a bad game. But if you like Quacks of Quedlinburg and things like that, I think this would be an amusing sideline for you. So I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. Mindbug King of Tokyo. When they first announced this, I was like, is it Mindbugs in King of Tokyo or is it King of Tokyo Mindbug? Well, they made an expansion for King of Tokyo with a giant Mindbug. But this is Mindbug, the game Mindbug, with the King of Tokyo monsters in it. Now, if you don't know Mindbug, I'll explain it. If you do know Mindbug, just add some changes. Let's take a look. In this game, it's 1 against 1 player here, and you're each going to have a dial with 3 life. That's what you start with. Take your opponent from 3 life, and you win. You'll shuffle the deck of cards and give each person their own deck of 10 cards from the same deck. Players will also each get 2 Mindbugs. So on your turn, you'll have 5 cards that you'll draw for your deck, and you'll continue to draw from them. You have to take an action. If you can't take an action, you lose. Now, one of your actions can be playing a monster in front of you. So here I might play the sheriff. If I play the sheriff in front of me, my opponent then has a choice. They can spend one of their 2 Mindbugs to, instead of me getting it, they get the sheriff. And now I can go again. So I might play another person, which they could steal again. Many cards on them have a play effect, and when that happens, you will play a card. This says play a card with a defeated effect. For many players, this card pile. This one says play a card with power 7 or more from your hand. If that's stolen from you by your opponent, then they will get to use the play effect. But you only have 2 Mindbugs that you can use over the whole game. So after both are used, you're fine. The other thing you can do is, if you have a creature, you can attack your opponent. They can block with one of their creatures. If they don't, you do 1 damage to them. Remember, 3 damage kills them. If they do block, then the creature with the highest power is destroyed. But there are some special abilities involved with this. First of all, we have some characters have poisonous. When they fight someone, the other person dies no matter how big it is. Some have tough. They need to be hit twice before they're gone. Some have frenzy. They attack twice. Some have hunter. Instead of attacking your opponent, you can just take out one of their creatures. And some have sneaky. These can only be blocked by other creatures with sneaky. Now, a lot of the creatures also on them have 1 or maybe 2 dice. When they attack, you will roll the dice. If you roll numbers, those get added to your power. If you roll energy, you'll take the energy. And if you roll this attack claw symbol, your opponent has to discard cards from their hand. Energy are these cubes here, and you can spend energy on your turn to buy one of these face-up energy cards. And then activate it immediately. Draw any card from the opponent's discard pile. Allied creatures have hunted this turn. The opponent loses 1 life. And there is a whole deck of these cards here that range from 1 to 3. Maybe an extra head or a portal malfunction and things like that. So your creatures have frenzy or defeat a creature with power 3 or less. What a great picture. Anyway, that's the game. First person to knock the opponent down to 3 is the winner. If you've never played Mind Bug before, it is a fantastic back and forth game. When you use your Mind Bug is such a cool concept. You can play, this creature's amazing, but I'm not going to play it because you'll just take it. So I'll play one that's pretty good first and hope you take that one. And then you won't want to waste it on this other character. I like that. There's like 5 special abilities. They haven't changed them. It's a fun back and forth. The King of Tokyo monsters are great fun. You're like, oh yeah, I know that guy from King of Tokyo. And also you'll see a lot of monsters in here and you'll go, where are they from? Well, from international versions of King of Tokyo around the world. But the thing that keeps, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Very good. But I like it slightly less than regular Mind Bug because while I love rolling the dice and I love those extra cards, the energy cards, that's the stuff they brought from King of Tokyo, dice and those energy cards. It just makes the game a little more clunky. It was really smooth, really simple. Just the tiniest bit more. It also, they're like, you could mix this with other sets. Sort of. But you're not going to get a lot of energy to buy those cards. If you're not getting, at most I would mix this with one other set, and even then I'm not sure I would want to do that. This is almost kind of best, I think, played as a set by itself, but still very good. Fun to see the King of Tokyo monsters in there. The mechanisms work. It's just not quite as smooth as the original game, but still a lot of fun. 8 out of 10. Wizards & Co. This is a game with some great artwork from Michael Coimbra from Sinister Fish Games. And Wizards & Co. is a game at which you are sending these different creatures out into dungeons to collect loot for you. Here's how it plays. There's going to be a certain amount of dungeons that are out there. Each dungeon will tell you what artifacts to put it in. So from A pile and the C pile. And then you'll also have a scroll that you put on it which will change it. This one here, for example, says add a random gem to each artifact in this dungeon, which I did. Now, players are going to have a little deck of 10 cards. And for your first game, you're just going to use cards marked 1 through 10. But there are 6 more cards. You can play advanced games where you pick the cards. And sometimes if you win an artifact, you'll be able to add other creatures to your hand or deck. So what's going to happen is on your turn, you're going to play cards. Now, each of these spots, and let's move some gems here, and we'll just take a look at this dungeon here. Each of these spots has rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see the yellow thing. So when you place, you can place 1 or 2 cards from your hand out. Now, if you place just 1, you can play it face down. If you play 2, one of them has to be face up. And then you'll draw cards. How many cards do you draw? Well, let's look at the chart. The chart says if you play no cards, because you don't have any, or if you play 1 card face up, draw 2. 1 card face down, or your 2 cards in different dungeons, draw 1. 2 cards in the same dungeon, you draw 0. It's a bit heady to remember that, but not too bad. When all the spots in a dungeon are filled, at that point, you're going to start with the statue, go around clockwise, and go through. You'll reveal these all and do something. For example, this one says, draw 2 cards. This one says, stuns adjacent beasts, which knocks them out. Imps have a star, which gives them power equal to all the imps that are there. And there's a lot of different things that you can have. You can move someone to another dungeon. If you take a gem, take a matching gem. The flesh golem has +2 strength for each card you discard. This is protected from all creatures and artifact events. This eliminates hobs that are next to it. Here's a hob. All imps have a strength of 1, etc., etc. So you have a lot of different things that will go off. Then the people that are left are going to take the gems. So you just take the matching colored gems from where you're at, give them to those players, which could include some negative gems here. These are the cursed gems. And then whoever has the highest, greatest strength will get their choice of artifacts, the second highest. And also the highest person will take this and keep it. It's 1 point at the end of the game. Then you empty the dungeon out, and you'll be able to keep playing. You'll keep doing this until the enchantment tiles run out, and there will be no more dungeons left to fill. And then players are going to score points. Now, you're going to get negative points for the cursed gems. So whoever has the most cursed gems is going to lose 3 points. And then everyone discards all their cursed gems. For each gem you get rid of, you also will get rid of a colored gem to match it. So you can use a lot of gems. And then you're going to look for how many different gem sets you have. If you have all 6 colors, you'll get 12 points for the set of that size, and you'll add all your sets together, plus the different artifact points that you've gotten, and whoever has the most points is the winner.
Wizards & Co. feels a bit like a very popular game called Smash Up, where you're sending different creatures and locations, and you're trying to get stuff at that location. There's differences here, but here's why I don't like Wizards & Co. I think it looks pretty cool, and I think there's a lot of neat ideas in it. But I give it a 5 out of 10 because it's just too much. Well, there's 2 reasons. One is there's too much. You put all these creatures down, and there's that weird oddity of how many cards I played and how many I draw. And people are like, it's not that hard, but it also just feels like a clunky rule. But you play these cards, you draw some cards, and you're playing cards at the different locations. And when you resolve a location, it's like, okay, first of all, there's a special rule at that location. Secondly, we go through this. This happens. And it's so much procedural going through all these things, and it's just amazingly chaotic. I don't know how anyone thinks they can have any kind of strategy in this game. You put something out there, you don't know what the other people put. You might know some of the stuff they put. There's also a lot of rooms that give the cursed gems, and you need to put people in to finish it off, but no one wants the cursed gem, so why would I stick someone there? And so it takes a long time, and finally people are like, fine, I'll finish this dungeon off. And I don't like the cursed gems. Cursed gems aren't fun in this game. Whoever has the most loses points, and you have to lose a gem for each one you've gotten, and there's so many of them. It's not like, take this amazing artifact that comes with a cursed gem, and you're like, ooh, interesting. No, you just get them all the time in this game. And I found that to be, that mix of the chaos, it's just too much. What does that artifact do? What does this do? What does this do? And this is, I'm talking about, I thought that was chaotic in the base game. And you start adding different, you can add the 6 extra creatures. People get a creature no one else has. And you're like, okay, this is here. That makes the imp do this. This knocks him out. What just happened? And that's kind of the way the whole game feels, like a what just happened. And if you're going to have that much chaos and randomness, I'm not necessarily opposed to that in the game, but I am with this many cards and stuff. It just wasn't for me. That's Wizards & Co. Quadrata Canada. Do you know your times tables? Well, you better if you're about to play this one, because we're going to go visit Canada, and that's something they insist on.
In this game, you're trying to visit the most destinations in Canada, or at least get the most points by doing so. Each player is going to have a bag with tokens in, and you're going to draw 3 tokens and place them on these spots here. I have 1, 5, and 6. You also have a taxi sheet and then a score sheet. And what you're doing, and at the beginning of your turn, you may discard any card from this line, putting it in the discard pile, and drawing the next top card. You then can visit any of these cards. If you can't, you get a taxi. And in fact, everyone at the beginning of each round, you'll start day 1 with 1 taxi. So yay, we have a taxi here. And different things will happen over the course of each day. We'll talk a little bit more about those as time goes by. Now, I can go to any destination as long as I can multiply 2 of these numbers to get to that destination. So I have 1, 5, and 6. Well, I can do 1 times 5 and go to Fort Smith. And that's pretty much all I can do. But I could always use a taxi. I have one. And I could cross off this taxi and cross this off to add +2. So I could do 6 times 5 and get 30. And add 2 to that. I can always go to the top card of the discard pile. And I could go to Miles Canyon. So let's say that's what I decide to do. So I'll take this card, I get the points on it, 3, and I'm going to write those. This takes place in Yukon, and I'll write 3 there. At the end of my turn, if I want to, and you don't have to, but I could take a card and reserve it for the future. The tokens that I used are gone. The taxi that I used is gone. And I can discard tokens and draw new tokens from the bag if I want to. Now, there are some bonuses that you can get when playing this game. If, for example, you connect, let's say next time I go to one of these territories that's connected with the Yukon, then you get a bonus. I can either get rid of a train here, which is worth a point at the end of the game, and it gives me another spot to put tokens, or I can take another taxi, which you can see can be used to add or subtract 1. If I do ones that are the same color, I get another airplane token in my bag. Everybody starts with an airplane token. An airplane token is 1 through 12, which, as you can see, will give you more opportunities to get the different cards that are out there. And in fact, sometimes some of the days will say get advanced tokens, and players will draw bigger numbers and be able to throw them in their bag and get rid of smaller numbers. You're going to do this a certain number of times as you go through these days, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. There are some extra bonus points. If you're the first person to do all the territories of the same color, you will get the corresponding trophy with the points in the back of it. You'll get trophies for each taxi that you cross off here, and you'll get points for half a point for each airplane you've gotten. You'll add up your points at the end. It also comes with a handy-dandy multiplication chart, just in case you don't know what 10 times 9 is. But that's the game.
7 days take the most epic tour of Canada. I like the Canada background and the different sights to see. But this game is all about just pulling tokens from a bag and seeing what you can get. There's not a lot of strategy in the game per se. It's more about, here's the tokens I have, what numbers can I multiply them in, and then if I have taxis, how can I use those taxis to modify my number to get one of these numbers that are out there? Then what should I do? Should I get the same color? Should I get ones that are next to each other? And with these, when I get tokens from the bag, which ones should I get rid of? You make a lot of decisions over the course of this game. And in fact, that taxi board, you can flip it on the air side, and there's a whole pile of different taxis. One gives you an airplane token. They do various things. They're not just all modifiers. But even though you make these decisions, mostly you're kind of saying, what can I do? I have 3 options. I will do this one. It's fun. It's fun to multiply the tokens. It's fun to build a bag and pull tokens from it. It's fun to pull an airplane and go, well, now I can multiply this by anything. But how do I get that number? -2. I find that interesting. It feels unique out there in the roll and write genre. This is a pull and write, I guess, type thing. I don't know that it's going to teach you math, but it feels like it's that way. It's like, hey, 2 things here, folks. Learn Canada geography and your times tables. But I still had fun playing that. Oh, wait, it does say math and geo collection here at the bottom. Well, maybe that's what it is for. But you know what? Even if you're using it just to have fun, I would enjoy it. 7 out of 10. Stacked. This is Stacked Elite. This is a game in which you are going to be stacking different, like hexagons, but they're actually circles on top of each other. Here's how it plays.
The game comes with a bunch of different size pieces. These are called bases. Here, that they'll store in this. The pieces have a pungent odor. They're very rubbery. You can see them bend here. Each player is going to get a certain number of pieces. I'm showing you the number of pieces that you would get in a 2-player game. Quads, tries, bios, and singles, and bombs. I forget the name of everything. On your turn, you get to put a piece out. And you just put it on top of the other node so it matches. And you put these pieces like this. Now, you can't start a new level until there's 6 pieces out, or there's nowhere else to put one. So I could put one here, maybe, for example. Someone puts one here. That's 4 pieces, 5 pieces, and someone puts a 6th piece out. Now we can start the next level. Now, there's some rules here. When you put a piece on top of another piece, this piece is on top of here. This is the only try piece that can be put on top of this. That's probably not a big deal, because I couldn't put one here, because 2 of the same type can't touch the bottom one. I could put this one here. A bomb, when it's put on a piece, means no other pieces can be played on that piece, but only 1 bomb can be played per level. And you can see as time goes by, we're going to run out of areas. I can't put this here because I can't have 2 of these on top of that piece. I could put nothing there. I could put a single here, and I could put a single here. And that's pretty much it, but then I put this piece on, and essentially you're trying to get to the point where you force the other person where they don't have a legal move. If that happens, you win.
Stacked is fine. It's fine. There's almost too many rules, maybe, and it's tricky. The thing about Stacked is it feels like the whole game you're playing to one point. Like, near the end, I'm like, oh, I can't play any pieces. I lose. I wish I'd gone back 10 minutes ago and put this piece here. I don't know. I can only look at like the last 3 or 4 moves we made. So I don't feel like the whole game matters that much. At the beginning, you're just playing things. You're trying to get rid of pieces, but leave yourself with enough pieces to be able to play anywhere. Also, it smells. But I don't mind that rubbery smell. Some people might. It's fine. It's definitely a looker. This game looks fantastic on the table. This company here, they make some pretty happy robot ink. They make some pretty cool-looking abstract games. They're just not great. It's fine. It's a 6 out of 10. I think it's fine. I enjoy it, but I think it's also best with 2 or 3. Once you have more than that, there's more chaos in the pieces playing out there. But it is one that you could leave set up on your coffee table and people would come by and check it out. So that's Stacked Elite. Yaxha, build the 8th wonder of the world. Well, very sorry to tell you, the 8th wonder of the world is a Mayan pyramid. I didn't know that's what it was, but hey, that's what it is. This is a game in which you're collecting blocks of building a pyramid and scoring points. You're going to have market tiles in the middle of the table equal to the number of players, and each player is going to have cards that match those. At the beginning of each round, you're going to randomly place 3 cubes on each card, like this, and then players are going to decide which one they want, and they're all going to secretly pick a card and play it. If you're the only person to play that color, you get those cubes. If multiple people play the same card, then they're tied. Whoever has the number that breaks the tie, the highest number, will win the tie, and then you'll switch the tiles with the person who you tied with so that they'll break the tie next time. Everyone's then going to put them in their pyramid, and then you'll repeat the process until everyone's pyramid is done. Your pyramid starts with a 4x4 base, and 3x3 on top of that, 2x2 and 1. The rules are, though, you must place at least, when you put the color on, it has to match one of the colors it's placing, so that if you can't do that, you'll discard them, so not everyone will finish their pyramids. But then you'll take this scoring chart and count how many are touching of a visible color. So of orange here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The ones you can't see don't count. And 10 blocks of the same color gives me 25 points. While with black, I only see 3, so I'm only going to get 4 points for that. There's also some scoring cards set aside at the beginning, and like this one is who has the most of this color, who has the most of the same color on the bottom level, and who has the most of all 5 colors on the bottom level. And those people will score bonus points, and whoever has the most is the winner. Sometimes simplicity is good, and I think so in this one. Don't get me wrong, I don't think this covers selling this game. But once you play the game, you're like, oh, this is pretty simple. I'll take some blocks, build them, try to put the same colors together. It's almost a filler in how quickly it plays. And I don't know how much diversity there's going to be from games to game, because again, you're trying to do it. But there's a lot of fun going, okay, there's 2 greens and a white there. Bob also wants that spot, but he has the 1 and I have the 4, so he's going to win the tie. Maybe I should go there just to get the tie back, but there's 1 green, a white, and a yellow there. I'll just go there. That way I'm the only person, and let everyone else fight over that. And then you go there, and Bob also went to the other spot. So there's a bit of that. But it's so speedy. The time on the box here says 20 minutes, and when you're done, you have a little pyramid you built. So that's cool. I give this game a 7.5 out of 10. It's an enjoyable way to pass time. It feels fun. It plays quickly. My only argument is those special cards, I feel like the symbology on them, I always have to look them up. I'm like, what does that mean again? There's an eyeball in red. Does that mean I see the most red? But that's a minor complaint. Other than that, fast, quick, fun. Check out Yaxha. And that's it, folks. Hey, a lot of good ones today in our mix, so check some of these out. If you have different opinions than me, of course, let us know in the comments. Tell us what you think of these games. And I want to say thank you before we end to some of our GameFound backers. I want to say thank you to Ronnie Vandermissen, to Juliana and Mario from Croatia, and to Chris Frendal. Thanks so much for supporting our GameFound campaign, and thank you all for watching us. We'll see you next time on the Dice Tower. I'm Tom Vasel. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.